Mark Fishbach, you owe me $12.50.
The previous day.
Hello everybody, I'm the Yellow Donkey. Now I'm the Yellow Donkey. If you know, you know. But yeah, I'm about to go on my way to go to a theater and see Iron Lung. When it comes to my expectations, as I say this with respect, none. Just because I've loved his work in the past, he's been one of my biggest inspirations. I'm not going in this with high hopes and then I disappoint myself like every other internet wrestling community fan. I'm just going to trust his body of work from the past and just go into it with a clear state and just sit back and enjoy. I've been one of those people that thought him and Jack was beefing for a little bit, but I looked at the credits whenever I was calling my theaters to see if they was going to be showing the movie or not, and apparently he's in it, so that's going to be interesting. But yeah, so we're going to head our way, and then whenever I get back, I'm going to do a quick little phone review, and then I'm going to go sit on my setup and look over my notes, and then give a full review. So, see you in a second, motherfucker. Yeah, we're running late. That's why the fucking camera's in vertical, so we're just going to go ahead and get in and get out. Ignore the car. My girlfriend's getting the car warmed up. It is like 22 degrees. That's why I'm a little shaky. But just off the top of my head, because we just got at the fucking theater, even with whatever because I'm undiagnosed as hell by all my friends say I got ADHD and probably some TIM. And I don't focus on things easily. I am easily distracted. I have never been locked in for 2 hours like I have been. I'm like literally as soon as I get in the car, I gotta type notes because I want this review that I'm about to go do in the setup to reflect. I want the quality of what I say to match the quality of the work that he did, because motherfucker. But yeah, so as of time of recording, it is February 1st, 5:39 in the morning. And yes, this is when I record a lot of these videos, just literally a couple of minutes before work. That's how this shit works. I was supposed to get this done yesterday, slipped my mind, but I have notes from when I had the pure raw emotion, and if you notice in the thumbnail, in the bottom right, it has a number 1, because this is going to be a part 1 review. Because I did the trailer, I'm going to do my initial review with my initial thoughts, because it's still pretty fresh. I haven't watched pretty much any other piece of media since then, because I was just trying to keep it as fresh as I can in my brain for this review, because I want to bring you whatever I feel and just don't let it get fixed in post, if that makes any sense. Okay, so just some surface level thoughts. Out of 5, I thought the visuals was a 5. I thought the audio was about a 4. I thought the story was I was torn, so I gave it about a 4.5. The music, 5. Loved it. The acting, 5. Loved it. Now I just wrote down just a couple of nitpicks, and then just some stuff I thought about it, and then after that I'm gonna go off of notes and just freestyle, and then whatever this video is, it is what it is. I'm trying to get better at video essays, because I feel like if I don't have a game or if I'm not live, I struggle with speaking on subjects and having them uploaded. So that's what we're trying to work on in the year of 2026. Y'all ready? Let's get it. Now that we're past the surface level ratings shit, you know, the stuff I probably just milked for a short. From this point on, if you don't want any spoilers, get the fuck out. I want to go this way because camera swappage feeds backwards. My door's over there. So the movie begins out with a man under water in a submarine, or so we think. And then we learn that he is a convict. Ooh, crimes. And he's paying his sentence by doing this mission. Which, boom, already you have intrigue. What crime did he commit, and why is it so severe that they're sending him underwater, sealed in, welded into a sub? You got the intrigue of his crime. Why was it? What was it so severe that he has to risk his life just to pay his sentence? There's also very limited people, and they say that there's something going on, and this could save the world. So, and I know this was filmed about 3 or so years ago, back when COVID was still high. So I really enjoyed the fact that he just played on the fact that it was just low population, when in reality you probably couldn't have that many people on set. Even though I do follow his podcast, the Distractable and all of them. And I do know he was talking about how he did have a decent production size and all that, but to me that's kind of what that felt like is we have these limits. How do we make it fit in a story to where it's not forced or awkward? And I think he's kind of made that a little nice little blend or little what am I trying to say? Two things can be right at once, if that makes any sense. So then we continue to watch as he's doing his underwater exploration. Then we see a little bit of blood on the submarine. And a little side tangent. I have avoided looking up anything about the movie, anyone's opinion about the movie. I figured I'd do the opinions and reactions on my own time, and I'll just throw a couple Googles after the review, just to see where we're at. I just figured I'd need to go ahead and set the record straight. Back to the tangent. We see the submarine having a couple drops of blood, and I immediately thought, oh, because I follow Mark's career, and I've been a fan of Markiplier ever since 2014, around the FNAF 4 drop. I was, if you remember, Who Killed Markiplier, the house was a character too, so as soon as I saw that little drop of blood going down the sub, I thought, oh, this is gonna be a character. And I was wrong to be right. Or was I right to be wrong? You'll let me know once I get to it. Yada yada. They're fucking with him, or so he thinks they're fucking with him. He's getting tired, exhausted, as you would. Yada yada. And again, I'm doing a speed review because I watched it in theaters. Like I said, I literally took off work, and so these are just notes after the fact. I'm going to be doing a more in-depth review once it's released. I'm assuming he's going to release it on YouTube, maybe Amazon. He's going to be out there somewhere. He didn't just spend all these years, time, and money for it to not be available after theaters. So that's when I'm going to take the notes and have a more in-depth review. So do not take me going yada 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 as an insult. That's just me not having all the concrete details, and I'm just talking about what I know versus what I think I remember. But yeah, he finds some Cthulhu-ass shit and resurfaces. By the way, I did not know that the mechanic was Sean McLaughlin. I should have known it when I heard Jack, and I was like, okay, I knew he was in there because Google kind of ruined it for me with the casting. I didn't even recognize him, and that bothered me, because I am also a fan of Jack. This camera that he's been taking photos with, turns out it's super radioactive. Because it's an X-ray camera, because that's the only way you can see through blood. I enjoy that detail for many reasons. Not only does it fit with the theme, it makes sense, and it makes more sense than just having a flashlight, like in the game, just to scare the monster, because we're not supposed to know about the monster yet. So that's kind of like, and especially because eventually this camera is his only light source. They send him back down after he gives Jacksepticeye cancer. Y'all want to keep convincing me they're not beefing. So he goes back down, finds some hidden stuff, and pretty much goes on a side quest, starts hallucinating, or was he? That's one sequence I can't wait to talk about once I do get the full movie notes out. Because at one point, he rage quits, listening to a speaker, beats it with an extinguisher, starts tripping, starts talking to it, admits he's tripping, sees that he's tripping because there's a disconnected wire, and then later on, the wire was never disconnected? Or did the monster reconnect it? And I say monster just because he threw out alien a lot, and I don't really know the difference between a monster and an alien, unless you want to just say monsters are local and domesticated and aliens are just foreign. We're just running down the movie before we talk about what I liked versus what I didn't, and just other general conversation. So, yeah, he found some information, takes a side quest, hallucinates, or was he, or he was, but then snapped out of it. Figures out that there's more than meets the eye when it comes to this operation and the people he's working with. Finds a ship, goes back up to. By the way, I love, love how they did Signal in this, because in most horror, there's just so happens to be no service. Our phones are useless, even though if we were to walk a mile down the road, they would be good. But they had the signal interrupted because every time he would submerge past a certain point, and it showed the visual point with the depth monitor, the depth reader. He would go play, you can hear him, static, he can't. And so he'd keep having to go back and forward. And I really enjoyed that aspect of how do we have busted communications without breaking the world or being an over distraction. So then he has to go back to that ship that he found, collect data that could possibly save the world. And for some reason at this point, I don't know why, but for like the last 15 minutes, when it comes to like dialogue and anything, I kind of was blanking in and out because I was just so like fixed in on what I was seeing. Hearing in detail was kind of just like sorry, I actively have a lung infection. Not contagious. Goes back, gets this box that could save the world potentially with the information that it has on the drive. But then the monster kind of says, alright, we're in the final act now. Let me whip out my dick and we're going to fight. And at this point, most of the submarine is just submerged in what looks like a living organism tissue from like the later Resident Evil games on the Ethan Winters shit. Like how they had just growth just everywhere. That's just what they kind of called it. It was just growth. Blood, veins everywhere. The crawl space scene, I'm not talking about the first or the second time he goes in there. I'm talking about when the blood's filling up and he has his nose against the ceiling. Oh, talk about a bad day. That. I would have died right there. I don't like tight spaces. I don't like the dark, and I don't like water. So, let alone blood, and those two things combined, not a good day for Simon. He eventually gets out of the crawl space, just head to toe dripped in blood, and he's walking to the console because he's about to do the hero thing. He's about to win. He's about to save the day. And then the monster shakes the sub, and he puts his hands out to catch himself. And I don't know if it was makeup, I don't know if it was special effects, whatever it was, I have not been this squeamish in a movie in forever. But when just fucking shit just shoots into his veins and his veins pop out black, both sides, he's stuck. He gets this hand off. Ow. But the time it took him to get this hand off, this hand was... Oh. I had an arm. Yeah, that's unfortunate. I used to have... Now I have nothing but strangers. Which to see Markiplier lose an arm, that was gnarly because I don't care for a lot of actors, like just off the top of my head, Norman Reedus, Andrew Lincoln, a couple voice actors I really fuck with heavy. But I followed this man for like 12 years now, and now he no longer has an arm. That shit just hit me weird because it. He winds up, and I do believe this is how the order of events went. Like I said, at a certain point, no information was being retained audibly. It was just all visual. I was just in awe. And so, for my mind, they was in the mouth. He rammed, spear tip, didn't work. So he just started 360ing in the gut or in the mouth. Boom, he dies. And all you see is the care package float on the blood Spotlight, open-ended. Was humanity saved, or was we destined to be doomed? Now that I've done my terrible job of a rendition, we're going to go over just a couple co's. Now that we've done all the yapping, we're going to go over the cons and some pros, and then we're just going to yap about it. This is a yap video. So we're just going to start off with cons, because I feel like I've been a little glazy here lately. So I really only have a couple. One, why did they not properly help Simon if it was possible for him to save humanity? Why did Simon not know he had supplies? Reference to the line, I had water. He didn't even know he had supplies, or did they not tell him? Did he not ask? Did they not mention to tell him? And then at the very end, whenever he made a deal for his life, they only gave him a 30-minute timer. Now, they could have explained it in the movie, but like I said, like the last 15, maybe 20 minutes, I heard everything, but I was primarily like just going off of just anything my eye saw. That's the only thing I pretty much got. Like, I don't know if that's because I was that locked in. I don't know if that's because it was an audio issue and I just wasn't catching it, or if it was just loud in the movie I was at. But I was fixated. And, yeah. That stuck out of my craw, though. Because if your whole goal is to save the world... And by the way, when I said he gave Jack cancer earlier... that whenever he sprayed him with the radiation camera, she also made a joke about her tumors. So not only are you dying, you have this cause that you are willing to let others die for and possibly kill yourself, or kill, yourself. Then why would you only have a 30-minute window? Like, I feel like that was like the only... that's kind of what cost it, that little half, that and just a little other thing. They could have explained it. Oh, my submarine can only handle it for this. I didn't want to get left behind, but that seemed like plot making the stakes that high. But I can forgive it. It wasn't too atrocious. It wasn't a slap in the face like most of these. Like, that's the thing. When it comes to nitpicking bad shit, I have to, like, if it's a really good piece of media, and I really enjoyed it, and I could tell that the team and the people behind it actually had a vision, a project, and passion behind it, then it's hard to, like, nitpick something that was actually really good. You could tell it was really good, and you could tell why it was really good. But there's also, you gotta have some negative thing. It can't be all positive, because there's no such thing as perfection. Number 2, for me, before I hit that 15 to 20 minutes of locked in, the radio in the monster was just a little hard to hear. And I'm not talking about the times where he's just standing there, heard some traumatic shit, and it's fading out. I can't hear that. I'm talking about just like during the conversation, I feel like a lot of the time I had to use context clues and pick out every 1 to 3 words. But I didn't know if that was intentional, because they wanted to have us have a more perspective like Simon's, or if that was just a mess up on audio. Either way, that was a little annoying. But that also could be on me, because I do watch things in subtitles to learn words that I don't know. So that could just be a brain rot of nothing but captions ruining how I hear things. But that is literally all the cons that I had from my initial watch. And I took these notes as soon as I got out the theater. I got out the theater immediately. Phone, type, it's fresh in brain. Shut up, one. Now to pros. It's for, besides that little slight nitpick about the monster on the radio, the sound effects and the sounds, they were peak. Like, you felt like you was in there with them, with like the smaller sound effects, the footsteps, and again, I'll be able to take more and better notes. But it was just, oh yeah, so before I even forget, what I was going to say during my initial review of the events of what happened, I was going to say I love the fact that whenever he put the X on the when he put the X of tape on the button of the camera that kept flashing it. I have a small fan theory that that's the only reason he made it as long as he did, because in the game you have to keep hitting that to repel the monsters, but while he was in the belly of the beast he had that tape up there that was repelling them. And I don't know if he discovered that whenever he was taking pictures and then that one fucked off the hill, or if that was just if you know ball, then you know ball. But either way, I liked it. Oh my goodness, the visuals were amazing in this movie. From all the blood, from the CGI, from the visual effects, to the photos and the designs of the creatures themselves, to the costume design. I love that costume. Especially once he got the bandages around him, because y'all know Trevor Maddox back in the day had them bitches. And then I have written here for the third one, everything felt real with dialogue and actions. It was gritty, it was gripping, relatable. It made you feel and root for a protagonist like I haven't in years. Yes, and now I'm about to really cook. So, no, this literally just felt like, okay, you took a man. You took a man who has a lot of regret, throw him in this situation. He's trying to do good, but pressure's getting to him. And it felt gritty, and that was for Simon. And then I want to say it was Ava. I can't remember the female voice speaker. She plays the heel really, really good. And for those of you that don't know, heel is just wrestling terms for bad guy. Even though she wasn't more or less a bad guy or a villain, she was more or less just the antagonist to our protagonist Simon. But she was the perfect dickhead. All up to I legit. I did a small golf clap when she said that she didn't even know his name. Because that is some top level slap my in your throat, make you thank me, slap you in the face type behavior. And you want to fight her. Which makes it even more heartwarming when she does kind of come around. But either way, and whoever was on the male voice on the radio, trying to pep up Simon. And then there's what Simon thinks is a monster, but it was just it was a premonition. He was hallucinating a monster, and he goes, "Shut the fuck up." And it makes sense that this agitated prisoner would just not want to hear this hopeful bullshit at the end of the world. But in reality, it's two things at once, because he's trying to say, "Hey, you're going to get me killed," and the guy on the radio was like, "Why do I even?" That was such a natural Big Brother reaction, by the way. Why do I even fucking try? You're just gonna bitch and fucking moan anyway. Son of a bitch. I can't fucking stand this little cocksucker. Yeah, no, I really enjoyed that little gag right there. But no, everything down to whenever he was pissed, whenever he was agitated, whenever it was like so sad and traumatically fucked up, it was funny. Like, it just all felt genuine. When I said I haven't rooted for a protagonist like that in years, I genuinely have not rooted that hard, that at the edge of my seat, that fucking go! Since, if we're not even counting if we're not counting TV shows, because I was going to throw a Walking Dead out there, if we're talking purely movies, it would have been The Boondock Saints, maybe, and that debuted in 98, 99, and I saw it in around 2015-ish. So, yeah, no, it's been a while since I've genuinely, just wanted the good guy to win as much as the good guy. Okay, I'm back. I had to make an emergency bathroom break, and I don't remember where I was off. Okay, everything felt real. I haven't rooted for protagonists like that in years. I mean, I'll like want good for the protagonist. I rooted for John Wick, but I wasn't invested in like wanting to see him live and be happy, because arguably there's more character design than there is to John Wick, but we're not gonna talk about that. Oh yeah, and the makeup, especially for the blood poison effect, is what I'm going to be calling it. Because whenever you get the blood from the ocean or the sea, whatever the correct terminology would that be, I'm not a nautical man. But yeah, you would get blood on you, and then it would like infect that part of whatever made contact. And like some of the visuals, especially towards the end, started getting gnarly to where it's like, my stomach feels weird. Which is weird because horror really doesn't affect me, like unless it's to the point to where it's like gore porn, like how Saw did after Jigsaw died. Like if it's senseless, then it doesn't really bother me. Besides the fact that I'm sitting here like, okay, some people are just getting off on this. You know it, and that's why this is made. There is no potential, or there is no like depth to this. Besides the fact that there's some sick people out there that just want to see other people get hurt because they like special effects, or they're just sick in the head. But when they're applied to a story and they actually play on your emotions like it did in this, that is when horror and gore really stick out the most. It's when you're invested and you don't want to see the gore because you want to see your favorite character's organs on the inside. But yeah, no, I would see this movie again. Off my initial review, I'd say, I mean, again, it could be recency bias, how everything's kind of fell off over the past few years when it's come to media. But I haven't been excited for a lot of stuff, but 2026 has been so far a very goated year with, I'm still catching up on it, but JJK Season 3, we just had Iron Lung. We're about to have Peaky Blinders, the movie, and then they just announced Super. So 2026, we're back. Which, like, and I know everyone during the pandemic, everyone blew up on anime, even though it was already kind of integrating itself in the mainstream. But COVID was the one that made it its push. I'm not counting that because that was a literal world event that kind of boosted that, but not really. But if we're being for real, yeah. So no, it feels good to be back, and I love the fact that it's pretty much one of my favorite animes and one of my favorite, if not my favorite, YouTuber. It's kicking off the year. I'd recommend this movie, and I've avoided a lot of looking up stuff, so that's what we're going to do now. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording and just see what I can find. Editor, for your sake, I'm adding in the screen recording in 3, 2, 1... Okay, so Iron Lung. Okay, see what we can find. Yeah, I still can't believe Troy Baker was in there, and if that's the guy from Naughty Dog, I still don't care for him, but still. Oh, Rotten Tomatoes. What is Rotten Tomatoes saying about this? 50%. I don't care about cookies. Okay, I'm breaking this. Okay, so ads. So 50% by the official reviewer, but a 90% from the viewers? Yeah, the industry totally isn't trying to fuck over Mark. Or creators, because you know Hollywood totally isn't a big cult or a club. Yeah, no. Voice number 2 on speaker, but I thought it was also the mechanic. Oh yeah, I I wanted to say this closer to the end, but we're kind of wrapping it up anyways. I don't know how well or how chopped up this is for editing purposes, but we're at like 33 minutes out of the hour that I have for a standard, one of these for my setup. But at the end of the movie, because Marvel has trained people to stay at the end for credits, but it got to the point to where people kind of knew that there was no post credits, and people still stayed. I was going to stay anyways, so I can pick out what names I knew, and I knew like Amy, Sean, of course. Mick, I didn't even see where Mick was unless he was the mechanic, because I don't know. I'm getting mixed up about that. I'll fix that later. Oh yeah, I did see that. It like grossed $9 million and it was like the number one movie. How good did Iron Lung do? Okay, so you had an audience score. Yeah, okay. So, okay, this is the AI. Let me save some water. I've also avoided all of these reviews. I don't even know who these are. Oh, wow, of course, IMDb's trying to fuck with it as well. Okay, let me put fucking movie. Wow. Critics are saying astonishingly boring. So you just don't like movies. Or you don't have an attention span because COVID also ruined your fucking attention span with TikTok. There was some moments that was drawn out, but that's called building suspension. Building tension. Maybe you're going to throw a couple lines in there to expand the world. I knew whenever there was some slow, and I say slower parts because you have to build it. It was a slow burn. And slow burns are literally you start slow, then you build up, and then once you get that peak of climax, it actually works really well because it's essentially you have your foreplay before you nut, and it's better versus just people just wanting to just have the quickie. And I hate that I had to make it a sex thing, but I it's now 6:46. I've been recording this for however long I've said since the beginning, and I'm tired. So that is the only analogy that I could have thought of. But no, you don't like sitting there and being patient for a good outcome or a good reward. You just like the quickest shit as possible. That's frustrating. Because any other movie, and of course I'm going to be a little biased just because you've been one of my favorites. He's also a small creator, or a small creator compared to Hollywood, if you will, or at least in their eyes, which is why I feel like they've been trying to railroad his ass. Because fuck Hollywood. I want to be an actor or a director, or I want to do something eventually, because there's actually a lot of things I do want to do just besides locally, but it's kind of hard to do, and he's kind of trying to change that. He's kind of trying to make a way for it to be easier to do fun stuff. And everyone, all the fans are saying it's a really good movie. All the critics are saying it was the shit. I mean, the writing's on the wall. If y'all need me to write it out for you. But no, I would recommend that movie to almost anyone who actually likes film. I wouldn't go out there and recommend it to someone who only scrolls on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, or Facebook Reels, because I know your attention span is at most 5 minutes, and this was a 2-hour burn. And it could have just been not for them, and I could be overreacting, or or it could just be face value that, big Hollywood, that big ass cult club, don't want someone coming in here and saying, hey, this is how everyone wins. You know who doesn't like everyone winning? The minority that always wins. Either way, I'm rapping. Either way, I'm yapping, I'm rambling. Go watch this movie for yourself, form your own opinion, and then let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. My final rating, I want to just go ahead and just give it a 5. But just trying to counteract my recency bias while taking in the little bit of negative that I did feel about it. Fuck it. We're super glaze mode. Activate. 4.5 to 4 3/4. Now we don't do 3/4. We do halves, because when you get quarters involved, this shit gets retarded. Yeah. Final 4.5 out of 5, and we will do another review. And shit, if it's free ball, if it's free play, I might just do a break. Nah, I'm playing. But no, all jokes aside, I will be because I'm assuming eventually it will come out on some sort of platform, and then that is when I will watch, take notes, and then we will have a part 2. Well, Jay Uso will run the motherfucker back. You know what I'm saying? That I feel like the bit would have been funnier if my belly. Either way, I've been the YOLO Donkey, you've been my YOLO Bros and YOLO Sisters, and I shall see you guys next time you click on one of my new and or old videos. He doesn't need it, but Mark's links will be in the description down below, because I do believe in supporting the original creator, no matter how much bigger they are than you. Peace!
He was one dangerous son of a bitch.
Oh yeah. For all yos that got rage baited and then stayed anyways, the reason Mark owes me $12.50 is because I had like 2 bites of my popcorn and soda before I locked in, and then I kind of forgot the world existed, besides a couple times when a couple people coughed to my left and my right, and so my popcorn got cold and my soda got warm. I need a refund for my snacks, motherfucker, even though you only spent about 3.5 years on this movie that I enjoyed so much. I need my $12.50 back, you motherfucker.